Welcome back to another episode of The Canon. First, we want to thank everybody that shared and retweeted. Congratulations to Mark from Justice. You are the winner of a free copy of The Dark Knight Blu-ray. But now we want to talk about all the news in the comic book and superhero movie world. I'm your host, Terry, partner Sal, and we're ready to bring you stuff that matters. Speaking of stuff that matters, Sal, Star Wars matters. And so far, we got some Episode 8 character description rumors, costume description. It's a lot of he say, she say. But what I think, fans wanted to hear. So first, we get Benicio del Toro. We still don't know who the character is, but he's described as a man in black. He's described as a person that doesn't come off as a villain to the heroes at first. He's described as someone that has a hand in what might be considered a Star Wars casino. And that is pretty much it. So what do you think about his description?
First thing I thought about, and I know a lot of people did, was the Collector, but in the Star Wars universe. So, but Del Toro, whatever he does get dealt, he kind of makes the best of it all the time. I love his acting. But we'll see how big a part he plays in it. It seems as now that it's not... I feel like we would have heard by now, like, oh, he's the main character, or he's the main villain, or antagonist, whatever you want to call it. Besides, like...
I think that's the difference, though, because Kylo and Snoke are established.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no room for him to be the main person, but... do you think he's a villain? I mean, it sounds like they're still walking on eggshells.
I think he's like... Whoever has his interest, that's who his loyalty is, and to make it dramatic, you're usually going to go with the interest of the villains. So I feel like he will be a villain.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I'm honestly trying not to speculate too hard. Outside of the who is Rey theory, I'm trying to save my brain power for just, the movie when it comes out. But I'm hearing he might be a Sith Lord. I'm hearing people saying he might... just be some regular guy that's kind of in between, like Lando. Hearing all types of things. So I'm not sure. Man in Black does, pretty much sound like a villain, but he might be kind of undercover. So I don't know. It's a lot of possibilities. Does this excite you at all?
Yeah, I mean, just him being in it excites me. So yes,
I'm excited more about the casino comment. I'm wondering what that is going to look like, because we haven't really gone there, in Star Wars. We've seen some of the, watering holes with Han and the scum, but we haven't seen, like, what's life like in Star Wars. It's always fighting and traveling, so we haven't seen, like, a casino or a restaurant or anything like that. So interested on who could own that casino. Is Snoke involved? Like, what is that?
That's how they finance the Death Star.
Right.
The Star Destroyer.
It's the cover up.
Yeah.
That's where they launder the money in space. But we got Laura Dern. Her character is described as very aristocratic, affluent, a mix between old school prequel Star Wars and Hunger Games. They say her hair is pink. They say it's in a crazy hairstyle. She's very trendy. What do you think about her description?
I think it fits her. I think it fits her character just because when I think of Laura Dern, I kind of think of this like, I feel like she has a lot of wisdom and knowledge with whoever she plays in whatever movie. And so I think that's kind of what they're going with by the sound of it. She's just going to be this person that just has some answers that they need, whatever that may be. And this cast is, again, we've known about this cast for a while, but it's still exciting to think of all these great actors coming together in such a massive movie.
Right, and so no longer Rey's mother, you think?
I don't think so. I think it's like I said, I think they're gonna encounter a lot of different people. So I think that is one of her.
Right.
She's one of them.
There's some talk that she might be a politician. For her world or wherever, her planet, and that just might be the style, but I don't know, it's interesting. The first thing that popped in my head, I don't know if this is how far off this is, it's kind of dark, is like when you think about the prequels and like kind of the way they dressed and stuff, it just reminds me of like this high society type, like the type that like pays slaves to fight her or something, and they stand there in masquerade balls laughing, and that's what it seemed like to me. And I was just wondering, I was like, would Star Wars have some? Because every time, if you think of the Court of Owls, anything like that, those high society types, the aristocrats, the rich people, they always side with the bad guy because, they're going to clear people out, blah, blah. And usually they're above all that fighting. So I'm wondering if that might be something they explore. I like her as a politician more, but just that was the first thing I thought of when they described who she was.
Yeah, I think she could play either one good. So
yeah, and then is it Kelly Marie Tran? Kelly Murray. Kelly Marie Tran. I keep saying Tran. They didn't say much about her. They said she's like the opposite of Dern. She's very normal looking, and she's the ally of Finn some way somehow. So yeah, not much. But what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I just think kind of fits both of their track history well, and yeah, there's not much. I mean, there's not much to go off of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Not much. Not much you can say, but I am happy that she is just like kind of another down to earth character and not some, put in a role that's too big for her. Yeah. Especially because she's from YouTube and whatnot. We don't really know her, abilities just yet. So I'm glad she's kind of surface level character. But sticking with the casting and characters,
Emilia
Clarke from Game of Thrones has been casted in the Han Solo spinoff movie. Her character has yet to be named, yet to be described much. Just says she's going to be part of the group that Han runs through in his adventures. So, Sal, go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, no, just Emilia Clarke. This is probably probably going to be her biggest role that she's taken on. The last big one was Terminator Genesis a couple years ago, and I know that bombed. But she was the lead in that, so it could be debated which role would be bigger, because she's not obviously the main person in a Han Solo movie. But yeah, like you said, they're just going to supposedly encounter her, and I don't know what that means in terms of how long she'll have or how much screen time she'll have. But just having her name and having her in this movie kind of excites me a little bit more. I mean, we already have Donald Glover in there, and I'm still not excited for the idea of a Han Solo movie, but having her in it, helps. You gotta, it helps. You gotta check her out in Game of Thrones if you haven't watched it already. But yeah, so we'll see if she how big her part is. It's too early to tell. It's 2 years away. All you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak much about her or this movie because we don't know what's coming, but we'll say they're building the cast the right way. With Rogue One, our first anthology, people know Felicity Jones, like people within the movie world. The regular fan does not know who that is. The regular fans definitely don't know all these other people, Donnie Yen and people of that nature. But with this movie, maybe unintentionally, because Donald Glover's known, but his new show ATL is really, or Atlanta is really blowing him up. And then you bring in another person with a huge TV show following from Game of Thrones. People don't know Alden Ehrenreich that much, but you need that because he's playing Han Solo and we need to see a fresh face.
Yeah.
But then you bring in other people around him that have big followings. You might get people in the movies just to see it because they're fans of their work on TV. So I like the moves that they're doing so far.
Definitely. Smart casting.
Speaking of moves, we have a trade that was confirmed, and not Chicago Bears, not football, not basketball. We have a real life movie trade in which it was confirmed that Disney and Marvel Studios traded the rights, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, to Fox for the rights of Ego, the Living Planet.
Yeah.
So Ego, who's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, was part of the X-Men, the Fantastic Four universe, which Fox owns. And Negasonic, for whatever reason, was part of Marvel's rights. So they made a trade, and that's how we got to see Teenage Sonic Warhead in Deadpool, and that's how we're going to see Ego in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah. So Sal, what do you think about this news?
This shows potential for Fox and Disney or Marvel, whatever you want to call it, to work, that they can work together. And I don't know how the news leaked. I wasn't sure, but and I'm not sure if they wanted it to leak or whatever it is. But this is a very, very small step to possibly. And we've gotten so many news or rumors and questions to directors of these movies and stuff, and they've all pretty much shot them down in terms of like X-Men coming to Marvel or Marvel to X-Men or Disney, and so they've all shot down. But even so, you can see here that they want each other to succeed because they're under the same umbrella, Marvel with Disney and Marvel with Fox. But maybe this is a sign for things to come. Not too far down the line, I hope, because I think this can benefit. I think it can benefit both parties.
Possibly. It was interesting, I'll say. I don't know why they would care if people knew about it, because, like we said, those aren't major characters. So, why would it matter? I don't think that's something that anybody would ever knew happened or even speculated happened. So, it's not that big on that level, but the implications, like you said, what could come in the future. And I think people are going a little ahead of themselves. Like, yes, Wolverine, they can figure a way to trade. But what is Marvel going to give up for Wolverine? Like, what's fair trade for that? Like, oh, you can have Rhodey.
And now that Hugh Jackman's leaving.
Yeah, and that'd be the perfect time, but I don't see it happening. So, but I mean, it does. I think it just says that studios work more than we think. And I've always said, people for some reason think Marvel and DC are like this. They're not. Like Warner Brothers, Disney, Marvel, DC, they have a great relationship. It's better than Fox and Marvel, I'll tell you that. So, the leadership, they all cool with each other, actually. And all these people root for each other because the genre gets better and everybody gets better. But the relationship's a lot better than some people realize, and so they're able to do these deals behind the scenes. The reason it doesn't happen a lot, like in execution, is because no one wants to give up anything major. This was like, hey, you guys got a throwaway character that we need, and it was like, hey, you got a throwaway character that we need. So it worked out, and I think it was the director of Deadpool. Not Deadpool. It was James Gunn that actually confirmed it.
Okay.
Because he was talking about, he wrote the story for Guardians, and he didn't even know they didn't have the rights to Ego. So they had to research it. But he said it actually, around the same time, Fox called him about the thing for Deadpool. So it just coincidentally happened that way. So I'm not saying it can't happen later, but it is nice to see kind of the behind the scenes stuff. So I would ask you about a good trade, but we won't have time because we got a lot of news.
Yeah,
we might bring that up later though. Something that might happen later, hopefully not. Disney is in talks to buy Netflix. We recently saw AT&T purchase Time Warner Cable and Warner Brothers. That has yet to be approved, of course, but as of right now, the deal is done. So that's what we're moving towards. And now Disney is aiming to buy Netflix. How do you think about that?
It's scary to think about because, I mean, we see this all the time, and we've seen it recently. I think it was with Comcast and NBC, something like that. And, it works out for them, and we as the viewer get, some better, some people consider better quality of things, more quantity even too. But when you think about it, there's only a handful of people and a handful of companies that own all of the media. So this is kind of just it's just scary to think about because Disney owns what? They own Marvel, they own Lucasfilms now.
ESPN, ABC.
Yeah, everything. And so I think it's only a rumor right now, but Disney, I guess, is probably like the lead in terms of possibly buying. Not even sure if Netflix says we want to sell.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, just researching and like being like I was a comm major. They, there's a thing called illusion of choice. And though people are excited saying like, yeah, if they bought Netflix, we'd get Star Wars and all the Marvel movies and all this and that, but the quality and the organic innovation within shows gets cut down because you're the one person who's making it now. Whether they're good or not, you're not getting those individual independent thinking companies getting the chance to make what they want to make and possibly becoming big, because now you have this monopoly from these 5 or 6 companies that are running everything. So in terms of big picture, I'm not sure if we wanted to go that far.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that could be bad because that's where things are moving now. It's all where the money is, and that's scary to think about. But in the short term, we'd get Star Wars and we'd get Marvel stuff. Hopefully.
Well, I'll come back. We'll do some positives and negatives.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I agree with you. It is scary to think about. One thing I will say is I think this deal is a lot less unlikely than AT&T and Time Warner's, because even if they do the deal, it has to be approved by whoever. And we talked about Time Warner, AT&T. That's a vertical integration. AT&T does phones. That's what they do. And they're like, okay, we're adding a new arm to what we do. This is our media arm and whatever. Disney does media. Disney does content. And they're buying another. Now, this is more of a delivery service, but Netflix is starting to make content and do that too. So this isn't a vertical integration. This is actual like monopolization, almost to an extent. But that's not the thing why I don't think it'll work or why it will happen. Is a lot of people glanced over this. Disney signed a deal with Netflix like less than 3 months ago or so, in which they were going to be the exclusive provider of Disney programming. So like all the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies, like we were saying, that stuff is coming to Netflix once that deal kicks in. And so we would see more. I mean, if you watch Netflix now, you already see a lot. Most of the Disney classics are in there, not the like classics, but there's Hercules, there's Heavyweights, there's all this Disney stuff in there. Almost all the ESPN 30 for 30s are on there. But with this deal, you would see all the Avenger movies and Iron Man. So they've already struck that deal. And with that, I thought more Star Wars shows would start coming too. So that's already in place. Them buying it, I don't know if that's necessary or if that will actually come through, because like you said, we don't know if Netflix wants to sell. Yeah. But anyway, so short term, long term, whichever one. Some positives if this did happen, do you think?
Positives. Well,
and you started kind of talking about more shows.
Yeah, just more. I would say what Netflix lacks now is the long-term funds to keep producing these original shows that they have, which are amazing, but I don't think they have the funds for that just yet to make sure that it's going to have the longevity that they want it to. So if someone like Apple or someone like Disney bought them out, kept pretty much the same formula, I would think that they keep the creative people that they have, merge them with the creative people that Apple or Disney have, make the original shows, new one almost every month or every couple months that are high quality and entertaining. So I think just the originality, even though I said, maybe even long term, or if they did do that, then people would start seeing, well, this is all made by the same people. It's not any different than this show was a month ago or than that show is 2 months from now. So, but I think for the short term, that original content you'll see a boost in it, and I think it could be good for whatever amount of time.
Yeah, I didn't think of that one. That'd be a good one, but I just think in terms of the content we talked about, the Star Wars especially, I think that's the place to really dive into a lot more than they've been able to do. I think just the platform, I mean, they got money, but the platform and kind of the resources that Netflix has with, the creative teams that they've been able to bring in and what have you, they'll be able to do a lot more flavorful Star Wars stuff, because there's animated, but maybe they can do like a Daredevil type series about bounty hunters, and then at the same time have a really kid-friendly cartoon about this, and so I feel
live
like
action Star Wars TV show.
Well, yeah, I think if they did like a bounty hunters kind of like Daredevil, would be live action. It'll be darker. They'll be able to do a lot more variations of what they do. So I think that would probably be like the biggest plus. But negatives, and you already kind of touched on some of them.
Yeah. So this is Monopoly, and we'll call it what it is. It is a monopoly. And like I said before, the originality can, it can benefit from someone like Disney, or it could be hindered because it's only one person. And as much as creative as Disney is, I feel like that can only go so far, and I think they'll have to adapt and evolve as time goes on in terms of bringing other people in. And possibly someone like Google is doing, where they are giving the chance for people on YouTube Red to have their content that they built and that they thought of, and now they're putting them in the spotlight. So I think that is kind of the way things are going. So I think that's the one way to combat the originality problem that you could possibly run into from one person creating all that media.
Yeah, I have like three main issues. Number one, the possibility of oversaturation, because like we said, Disney has a lot because they own a lot, but I just feel like if you buy Netflix, you gain a new platform, and it's tempting to just make everything, and just give us too much, like, because Star Wars, you could go in an infinite amount of directions, not even counting all the Marvel stuff you got. So I think right now we have a good balance of what we get from from Disney overall. If that Netflix added all the MCU movies from the past, that's fine, because we've already seen them. It's like anything else on Netflix. But once you start pumping out a bunch of new original content, then I'm like, okay, we might, get sick of Disney after a while.
Yeah.
Number two, it scares me because Netflix right now is more popular because of the original content and how just unabashedly gritty it is, and not all of it, but they really let their creators do what they want. Like I recently rewatched Jessica Jones, and I just forgot how graphic that thing was. Like, you would never think that was a Disney product. And Narcos and Orange is New Black. So I just really feel like once Disney, if they own Netflix and Disney's name is on it, it's like, yeah, you could do your thing, but you can't cross this line because we're Disney at the end of the day. I'm scared of that, so restricting the originality.
Yeah.
And then lastly, of course, no, DC. Like, DC hasn't made plays to be on there. I mean, there's a lot of their animated movies on there, Flashpoint and whatnot, but it seems DC and Warner Bros. Are really aiming towards the HBO vehicle, because they own it, of course, and staying away from Netflix. But I've always been like, why doesn't Warner Brothers have their own, counterpart to Jessica Jones and Daredevil? Like, why don't they have their own 13 episode
streaming?
Yeah, down and gritty. I mean, I think it should be on Netflix just because they're all well made for some reason, and I'm just like, why am I watching Daredevil and I can't flip over and watch Nightwing? Like, how many people would want a 13 episode season of Nightwing where it's like gritty and grounded? So but even if, let's say, they wanted to do that, I just don't know that Disney would
like that.
I mean, I think they would because it's good business, but I don't think they would let as much. You know what I mean? It's going to be real uneven, Marvel to DC.
You can never say that they didn't try to make it bad or something,
Yeah, so that'd be my fear about so hopefully this doesn't actually happen, but we'll see. Next thing for you to see is Keep It or Sweep It. All right, so let's start off. The Justice League Dark animated movie dropped its trailer, and almost as expected, maybe not expected by some people, the Justice League Dark roster is very similar to the roster people have speculated for the Justice League Dark movie that was announced and being directed by Doug Liman. So Sal, do you keep or sweep? These are the characters that we're going to see in the actual live action movie.
Yeah, I keep that. That's kind of the, like, if you Google Justice League Dark, you'll see these main 5 characters. So I don't think they're gonna I don't think they're gonna deviate too far from that source. And I mean, all those characters we've casted them and we've talked about them, and they're entertaining, and they're all very different. So you kind of get those different personalities that sometimes clash or mix well together, and they're, like I said, just very different from each other. So I think that makes for good content.
Yeah, I keep it. I've always kind of said if you follow the animated trail, it'll lead you right up to what the movies are going to do. We recently had Greg Berlanti from the CW TV shows. He confirmed that Jeff Johns, they asked them to put Suicide Squad on the Arrow TV show to see how it tests because they want to make a movie, blah blah. So you realize these TV shows, these animated movies are testing grounds. Like a lot of things that's happened in the MCU I knew was coming, or I had background on it because Disney had these animated Avengers TV shows on Netflix that I watched all of them, and I'm like, oh. And then it like Guardians popped up one time, and they had like a 3-part episode, and then all of a sudden Guardians movie came up, and there's like, who's Guardians? I'm like, oh, I know them because I just saw them. Yeah. So I always say follow the animated trail. That'll lead you somewhere. And so Justice League Dark has looked different depending on, like you said, there's the main ones, but there's a bunch of different versions of them.
Like kind of like the X-Men.
Yeah, well, the lineup changes, right? But once this trailer hit and I looked and I'm like, oh, there we go. There's almost everybody we named. Deadman, Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Constantine, the Demon, all that. So, yeah, I think I keep it. I think that's what they're going to do. Now, we saw a lot of Batman interaction in this trailer. Yeah. Do you think they're going to follow that route where Ben Affleck's Batman is going to be the one to kind of shepherd in the Justice League Dark?
That's weird to think about just because it's so far away. My original thought was, after kind of seeing that trailer and talking about this with you, was that they're gonna I think they're gonna kind of keep it to like how Suicide worked, where you kind of have these cameos, but they're not huge. But I think a little bit more than that in terms of Batman, like you said, might steer them in some sort of direction, but not be there.
But you think he's going to be in it?
I think he'll be in it. I mean, yeah, I think someone will be in it just because you have to have that star power.
Well, remember we first heard about Justice League Dark, we talked about a Vertigo universe, and where this doesn't take place in the DCU, or eventually they cross over in Crisis or something. So do you think they're going to merge them? Because that's the only hesitance in putting Ben Affleck's Batman in, is now it's a DCU movie and not its own thing.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I don't know. That's
because I lean towards no. I think it'd be great. Like even like the very beginning, just you don't have to show him rounding him up or all that, but just like if he's the one that delivers the mission, like it looks like in this movie, then that's it. And then just have him back out. We're doing Justice League stuff. You do dark magic stuff, and I'm gone. And but it legitimizes it. It's like, okay, I think it should be in the DCU.
Yeah, I think it would be cool eventually. I think they have to establish their universe first. I don't want them to rush into it. And but Justice League Dark is entertaining. It's entertaining because it's different. You saw it in Doctor Strange. It's kind of otherworld type stuff that people want to see because we've seen so many earthly battles or villains or teams, whatever, with the Avengers or whatever it is. So I think this is going to be entertaining regardless. But we'll see what directions they take it.
Speaking of directions, Deadpool 2 is going in a new direction because it has a new director. Mr. David Leitch, who is a co-director from John Wick. Earlier I misspoke at a different episode. I said the other director. It's not him. It's David Leitch. He's taking over officially for Deadpool 2. Sal, keep her sweet.
Keep that because I've heard of John Wick. He did John Wick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've never seen it. I've heard good things about it. I've always wanted to see it, so eventually I will. But he here is a stuntman specialist. And so with that, he's worked on, I think it was like 80 credits for stunts. And he's done stuff like Fight Club and like 300. And I think it was V for Vendetta. But anyways, I think we'll get a lot of good fight sequences out of that. Him being the director and doubling as a stunt coordinator. Well, not the main stunt coordinator, but him having that experience, I think can bring a lot of good things to this second movie. And I'm glad they found one so fast.
Mm-hmm. So. I sweep it. I understand why a lot of people might be excited by it. Well, you didn't see the movie, but if you've seen John Wick, you know what they call the gun fu, the action scenes that they had in it. Is a lot of action gunplay, and so a character like Deadpool, of course, kind of is the perfect character for him to tackle. But I just don't. I don't like this without Tim Miller. I just don't like this without Tim Miller. Despite what we heard about him and Ryan Reynolds clashing, it can still be good. I just don't think it'll be as good as it could be, because it's never good for one person to have their voice just the loudest and nobody else. I get Ryan Reynolds wants to stick to a smaller kind of what got them there, but he could have made some concessions with Miller and expanded the universe a little bit, maybe not going too huge, and best of both worlds it. But yeah, so I just don't see this movie being as good without Tim Miller, but I do think Leitch will do a good job of it. Alright, speaking of another good job, hopefully, the rights to the Green Hornet movie has been bought from Paramount, and they are moving forward with a movie, and they already have their director, the director of The Accountant, Mr. Gavin O'Connor, who did probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time in Warrior. He did Pride and Glory also. But he is a huge Green Hornet fan, and so he'll be directing. So Sal, keep her sweet.
Keep that. I'm keeping a lot of things today. But I never saw the original Green Hornet movie with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I've heard it just kind of fell short of I don't know the other actor's name. But they were kind of slated to have this good partnership, and supposedly it just kind of fell flat. But we'll see with this new director, Gavin O'Connor. His movies are usually kind of dark and gritty and very grounded. And so we'll see what kind of Green Hornet movie we get. But him being a big fan obviously helps. That helps with any director. It kind of reminds me, just like we were talking about with Reynolds and Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is a huge Deadpool fan. He was before this. So we see what that can kind of give us, and hopefully maybe he can bring this back to life too.
Yeah, I keep it as well. Gavin O'Connor, he said that he wants to make a Green Lantern unlike that we've seen before.
Green Hornet?
Green Hornet. I always want to say Green Lantern. But yeah, he wants to make a Green Hornet in the way that he has been portrayed, which is that dark and gritty. I haven't seen The Accountant. I know you have. So from what I hear, it's really good. From the look of it, from having a huge personality and Ben Affleck and directing him in that movie, it seems like he's ready to tackle this with whatever comes his way. But seeing him do Warrior, yes, I'm all in. If that's the type of movie we're going to get, I'm perfectly happy about Green Hornet being made. I'm excited. I think there's so many possibilities with casting Kato. I don't know how familiar you are with Green Hornet, but Kato's his sidekick. And so I think there's so many possibilities because everybody's clamoring for diversity. They want more Asian actors, more female actresses, and all that. So I think you find a Kato that is a really strong up-and-coming Asian actor, and I think you gonna really have a strong lead because it's Gavin O'Connor. I think he can get someone in there. I hesitate to say I hope it's Tom Hardy. I know he would do such an amazing job, but I kind of want to see a younger duo of Green Hornet and Kato. Like if Chris Pine could have did this, that would have been perfect. But yeah, so I'm super excited about how this movie is going to look.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of another off the beat movie, which I am so happy these are happening now. Jessica Chastain is set to produce and star in a movie version or live action movie version of Painkiller Jane. Sal, do you keep her sweet?
I keep this. I don't know. I've never heard of Painkiller Jane before this. I don't know if you have, but Jessica Chastain is my girl. I love her and things.
Didn't know that.
And she is. She does drama well.
Very well.
Really well. And I don't know what kind of character Painkiller Jane is in terms of her personality. It seems like she's kind of in your face type of person. But I don't know what got her to this point. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of research on her. But Jessica Chastain, I think, is a woman of all sorts of characters, so I think she can do well. I know Painkiller Jane, when I was looking her up, she's basically Wolverine without the claws. She has a lot of regenerative powers, and she's a good fighter just naturally. So that's going to be interesting to see Chastain in such a role, because we've never seen her in something kind of smash mouth like this. But I think she can do it. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Right along with you there, partner. I'm keeping this. I'm excited. Like you said, because we have not seen Chastain in this role. I haven't heard the character prior to this story, but she has a pretty simple, it looks like, story. I think they might play with the origin a little bit as far as this movie, but overall, she's a mix between Max Payne and Wolverine. She has regenerative powers. She's pretty much indestructible. However, it just says, she can still feel the pain, and that's where she got her nickname from, Painkiller Jane. So I think that's cool, because Wolverine, they don't ever really go into like, oh, he can actually feel that, because it's not like he doesn't feel pain.
He's just tough.
Yeah, he just acts tough. So I'm ready to see that. Definitely need to see who the director is. I think she'll look amazing as Painkiller Jane. She picked this movie out herself to produce, so obviously she likes the character and the way they're going with it. But I'm excited to see her step out of her typecast biopic or Oscar movie role and really step into some action and see what she can do. I'm excited overall for this. I'm excited that we can talk about Green Hornet and Painkiller Jane and not have to talk about DC Marvel all the time. Like, we're getting so much more that it's really exciting. I never thought Jessica Chastain would end up on an offbeat comic, though, or a graphic novel.
No, I picture her like an Amy Adams type casting or something. Not because they even look like each other, but just because.
I just figured she'd end up with one of the big players. But, she's one of those people like Leonardo DiCaprio, that are very conscious about the work they do, and they don't want to just do what everybody else is doing. So anyway, lastly, speaking of doing what everybody else is doing, Green Lantern is going to jump into Justice League 2. It is reported, it hasn't been confirmed by Warner Bros. Or anybody, but it is reported that a member of the Green Lantern Corps will show up in Justice League for a key sequence that is going to be big on the story. So Sal, keep her sweet, Green Lanterns in the Justice League.
I'm excited, but my heart tells me sweep it. Just because I don't want them to put him in there just because he's part of the Justice League. I want him to organically be in there, and I know we've heard we had like a rumor mill like months ago with like a crap load of leaked DC stuff, and one of them was that he was going to show up at the end, like at an end credit scene or something. So having him be in a very key sequence, obviously means that he's a very important character going forward, which is fine. I always expected that, but this movie is already packed, and with not a lot of developed characters already. So having him might kind of make that worse.
I'm going to keep it, my dear Sal. You got to read the fine print. It says a member of the Green Lantern Corps. Everyone is jumping towards Hal Jordan, John Stewart. It hasn't been confirmed, so we don't even know. But a lot of people are quick to point out that it could be anybody. And so if you go way back, who was it? I want to say it was Deborah Snyder. She was the one that said you won't see Hal Jordan until Justice League 2, Part 2, or whatever they're going to call it now. And I think that was the plan at the time. It could have changed, but I just don't think they have room to put him in there, because you can't suffer from what you've been suffering so far and not giving these characters their full development. So a Green Lantern Corps member, Sinestro, Killer Wog, anybody could, come down, and it obviously has something to do with Darkseid or Steppenwolf, I guess. Someone, they're out in the galaxy, they know what's coming, and so they're coming here to warn or fight or do something in this sequence. And this may be where the Justice League learns of the Green Lanterns, and then eventually they meet Hal Jordan after he becomes Green Lantern, like, oh yeah, we know what Green Lanterns are.
True. But
they never had an Earthling before. You must be special, or I don't know, something like that. So there's ways it can be done. So I'm definitely keeping it. It is packed. I do think it's a little too much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just a sequence. And if it's not Hal Jordan, go for it, because we probably won't see this person again until we see the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, or who would you want to show up if?
I don't mind Sinestro that you said it. Obviously not the fear Sinestro,
the evil
Yellow Lantern, but yeah, I think he's a good representative, and he's knowledgeable, and he's a big character without being Hal Jordan or Guy Gardner or John Stewart. So him knowing, or like you said, warning them about something, I think would be the right choice.
And I also have to say, like, it would be so bad if they do John Stewart or Guy Gardner or Kyle Rayner. If it's like oh yeah, I'm the current Earth Green Lantern. And they're like, wait, there's more, and then we eventually have to find out about Hal. If they do that, where like Hal's been around for years, I'm gonna be pissed. I might just stand up and leave. Like, that would be the wrong move. I know you're not listening, but DC, Warner Bros., if you're listening, don't do that. Please, God, don't do that. Please make this pre-Hal Jordan and not post-Hal Jordan, because that would ruin everything.
What if the movie was him having to come back as the Green Lantern? His movie.
See, I don't like that. It's just like, I liked it with Batman. I'm not liking it with everybody else, where it's like, oh yeah, these people been here. There's no one noticed all this crap happening. So I don't like that idea. That's just me. All right, so that is the episode for today. Sal, any last words? Where can the people find us?
Goldberg, Brock Lesnar tonight, Survivor Series. I got Brock Lesnar. What do you got?
Brock, I did not know Goldberg was still wrestling.
He just came back.
Oh, yeah, Brock Lesnar, I guess.
We'll see.
He's the guy
That's
right now.
pretty much what they're going to do, probably. But other than that, you can find us on Twitter at The Canon Vlog, or on Facebook, facebook.com/TheCanon.
As I mentioned earlier, just rewatch Jessica Jones. If you have not watched it, or if you did watch it, go watch it again. It might be my favorite piece of Marvel creation, point blank period. So creative and amazing. And if you heard it here, it's canon.